Hello, everyone. I welcome you all on this today's webinar on a very important topic, data security. I myself would be the presenter for today's webinar, along with my co-presenter, Mr. Charu Palaka. So a brief about the presenters. I myself is Syed Arshad Hashmi. I'm the training manager at Bureau Veritas North America, based in Houston office. I'm a lead auditor and trainer in many ISO standards, including quality, environment, health and safety, information security, business continuity, energy management system. By profession, I'm an engineer with over 24 years of experience of working into this field of international standards and certifications. I worked as a consultant, I worked as a trainer, and I worked as an auditor for all these international standards. And I've worked in a number of countries, including USA, Europe, Canada, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and throughout the Middle East. So I would request my co-presenter, Mr. Charu, to please go ahead and introduce himself.
Thank you, Harshad. Guys, once again, welcome you all. Just want to give you a brief about myself. I'm a founder of InnoSec Corporation, working in coordination with Bureau Veritas to develop e-learning courses. Traditionally, we are a consulting firm in technology practice. My personal background is 25 years in the field of business and technology, and it included internal auditing, governance, risk, compliance, cybersecurity, and various other areas over a period of time. I'm qualified CISA, CISM, mostly the security certifications then. Also come from the business background heavily with the CPA, MBA, CA. And with this brief introduction, I'll hand it over back to Harshad. Thank you, Harshad.
Thank you, Charu. So with that, let me introduce our company, Bureau Veritas. It's a French company, and it's a testing, inspection, and certification company with the mission to reduce risk, improve clients' performance, and help them to innovate to meet society's challenges with confidence. That is all within the domain of testing, inspection, and certification. Some of the key figures for the company: it's a 5 billion euro company with 75,000 employees around the globe. We have a customer base of more than 400,000 clients, and we have 1,500 offices and labs in 140 countries around the globe. Some of our global clients, as you can see, we work with a number of clients, starting from Airbus, Boeing, HP, IBM, Viola, Siemens, number of international clients we have. We have total 8 global business lines within our organization structure. Among that, as you can see, this certification. So the webinar is arranged within the certification business line, where we offer certifications against different ISO standards, and we provide trainings. Some of the trainings that we provide, either public or virtual, may go from 1 to 3 to 5 days. And we cover all these standards for which we provide training and we provide certification services. With that, I like to place the agenda for today's webinar. Now, I will touch base on the current trends that we are having and what is the outlook for the data breach, which will let us touch base on the current global scenario that we are living in, and everyone is going through that and everyone is experiencing that, and that will lead us to the information security management system. And I'll talk brief about the 27001 information security system. I will touch base on the human elements of it, and then I'll hand it over to my friend Charu, who will tell you how the e-learning courses will enhance the human element within the information security domain. And then the importance of the training and the compliance mandate, and then we'll have a Q&A. Whatever questions that you are having, we will try to answer as many as we can during the Q&A session. Moving ahead with the trends, I'd like you to have a close look at this slide. So these are the figures in 2014, that many of the devices and the equipments that were connected on the internet, and people were working online. And that has been increasing in 2015, 2016 to 6.4 billion. And now the projected one in 2020 is around 20.8 billion. And that was a projection before this pandemic. So we can imagine that that projection may be different and will increase based on the calamity that we are experiencing right now. So what it tells us is that there's an increased dependence on the information and communication technology. People are communicating through that because we are working remotely, and most of us are in lockdown positions. So there is an increased dependence, which also means that there's increased dependence on the online services, which also means that the volume of transaction has been increased dramatically. So what we expect out of all that, the impact towards the risk of information security and data breaches. And we need to understand that, and we need to be well prepared for that. With that, I'd like you to have a look at the previous year data about the data breaches. If you see on my right that who are the victims, now 43% are the organization or the people like us, small business victims. So we need to understand that almost 50% the victims of data breaches would be one of us. And then if you have a look, which is an interesting figure, is about the who's behind the breaches on my right side. If you see that graph, so 34%, almost one third, are the internal actors, the people inside. Now they may be intentional or maybe unintentional. That's besides the point. But one third of the people responsible for the breaches are from within the organization. And we need to understand that element, and we need to make arrangements, place controls to cover that element. That is in our hands. So what this data breach overview tell us is that some of the other key figures, if you can see, in 2019, the overall increase is around 284% as compared to 2018. Whereas the total records that has been exposed is 15.1 billion. And the breaches reported is around more than 7,000, which is a huge number. So the way all the breaches is impacting the business is destroying company's image, depressing the value of the business, bottom line, erode the bottom line, and compromise future earnings. So that is heavily, heavily impacting the business, for that matter, everyone around us. And we need to understand all these dynamics of the business. Now, let me place all of you in the current global scenario. As we are all aware that we are having global COVID-19 pandemic, and everyone and anyone on this globe is facing it. Now, what is producing, what are the terms that is coming to be known to all of us is remote working. We are getting very well aware of this term now. Distancing, now it's not an unknown term to any one of us. And demand for online services. Because of all this, the customer is now demanding for online services. Customers also having a high level of exchange of data. And on the other hand, including that, they are having a higher expectation for the continuity of services. So we need to understand that the dynamics of the customer and the expectations of the markets are dramatically changing because of this COVID-19 pandemic. And at the same time, companies are also gearing up They are gearing up, meet this customer's expectation, expecting and managing the high volumes of online services. Similarly, they are also having high usage and dependency on information and communication technology, which is, of course, as a result of the customer's current expectations and demand. And then, at the same time, they need to manage a workforce which is working remotely. So, in this kind of a scenario, they're doing business. And what are the threats that may impact the business or the customers that one could anticipate or are experiencing in this highly online service-based market at the moment? Compliance issues. Maybe we would go into a violation of a legal requirement. Then capacity management. Businesses need to manage those capacities to be able to fulfill the increasing customer demand at the moment. Then customer data security, one of the biggest challenges, which was even before, and now it's more because the customer base has been increasing and the volume of data has been increasing. Authentication, one of the greatest concerns of any technology company, how to authenticate the persons. Now, from the customer perspective, reliability of the data that they are receiving, can they rely on that? Then, equally applicable to both security breaches, either at the company end or at the customer's end. Then, equally applicable is the confidentiality of the data. And then, equally applicable, importantly for the customer and of course for the businesses, the service continuity. So, in this high kind of online and IT-based environment, these are all the threats that we need to be ready for, and some of them are facing or anticipating to face. And to cover this all up, we have a ISO 27001 Information Security Management System standard, which can greatly help the companies to minimize all these threats, all these risks due to these threats, and keep your company and your customers safe towards these threats which can damage the company business. With that, I like to place a little view on ISO 27001, which is the Information Security Management System. So, as we all know, or most of you may know, that there are three aspects to information security that we need to safeguard. One is called the confidentiality. This is the basic about information security, and it is about giving the access to the right people. So whoever is authorized to access that information, only that person may be able to access that. That is called the confidentiality. The second element is the integrity, which is called the completeness and correctness of that information. Can we trust that information there without the bugs, without any errors? And the third element is called the availability. Is it available at the point of use? When I need a data, when I need to access some site, is it available there or not? When I need to access some databases, is it available there or not? So basically, information security is a trica among all this confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And the way information security definition is defined is the preservation of the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. So we need to preserve the C, I, and A. There's a lot of information available, so I would not go into the details of that. Rather, I will tell you the dynamics of the standard, that how the 27001 standard works to preserve the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the information, and how it can help you. So these are all the 27001 series of standards. And as you can see, among all these series, for that matter, any ISO standard, the 27001, wherever it says requirements, that means this is a certifiable standard. This part goes for the certification. There's a certification scheme, and your organization can get certification against 27001. Now, all the other standards are called guidelines. So within the 27001 series, all you need to focus, any organization which is going for certification, is the 27001 and 27002. Now, even though 27002 is guidelines, but that greatly supports the 27001 main standard, and I'll tell you in my coming slide what is the correlation between 27001 and 27002. Nevertheless, you can refer the other standards, which are the guidelines, for your further understanding about, for example, information security risk management. And in my next slide, if you have a look, these are very informative, valuable guidelines. And one of the interesting things that I came to know and would be valuable to you is that ISO is offering for a time period free on their website, free some of these guidelines for free to be used by the organization. So you take advantage of that, go to this site, and you can get those guidelines, those standards for yourself. So some of the interesting standards are, for example, this is 27018 PII, personally identifiable information, 27017 for cloud practices. Then we have 27031 for business continuity, 27032 for cyber security. So these are very, very valuable guidelines which anyone can read, anyone can adapt to further strengthen their information security within their organization. But just remember that these are all the guidelines which can be adopted by any organization. With that, let me show you a brief structure of the main standard, which is the certifiable standard 27001. So this is how it looks like. And if you can see on the right, there are headings from 0 till 10, which I want you to focus on because I'm going to show you the same in my next slide. And then there's an Annex A. Annex A is also part of this whole standard. And it is normative. That means compulsory. That means to be used as per the requirement. So I'm showing the same contents in my next slide. And about these contents, just the structure-wise, the underline from 4 till 10 and Annex A, this is the area where the requirements are laid down. So when an organization want to implement ISO 27001, they need to implement from 4 till 10 plus Annex A, which has all the best security practices. And I'll just explain in my next slide about that. So basically, these clauses are called auditable clauses. And among that, if I can put it that this is my part 1 and this is my part 2. What is the correlation between these two parts? So the objective of the 27001 standard is the preservation of TINA of information, which is basically the definition of information security. So the objective of the standard is information security. Now, the first part, which is my 4 till 10 clause, basically establishes the information security management system. Now you need to understand that a management system is a non-technological process which basically defines processes and elements for the management, how to manage information security. So it's a non-technological part, and having policies, procedures, and most importantly, the risk assessment. The risk assessment tells that in the current scenario to my organization, what still the exposure to the risks are. And to overcome those exposures, the Annex A defines the controls. So for easy understanding, you can call these controls as best security practices. So these are the best security practices that is defined in Annex. So when you do the risk assessment in clause 6, then as a result of that risk, when you come to know that these are the high risk areas in our organization, how to cover up or plug in those high risk areas, we need to refer the Annex A, which includes control objectives and controls. And I'll give you the detail in my next slide. So this Annex A contains 14 domains of information security, within which there are 114 controls which are defined. What are these 14 domains? These are all those 14 domains. Just for the information, example, this one, information security aspect of business continuity management. So this is one control which talks about business continuity. Physical environment security, cryptography. So all the best security practices for information security are defined in all these 14 domains. And if I can show you my next slide to further explain that all these 14 domains has certain sub practices which are defined. So every domain has like for example, A5 has 2 practices which are within A5 which are defined. Similarly, my operation security has 14 sub practices or sub clauses which are defined within A12, and this control list sums up to 114. So these are 114 best security practices. And as you can see in bracket, it's written 27,002. So now if you may recall, the initial 2 standards which I showed you, 27,001 and 27,002, 27,002 are guidelines for the implementation of all these 114 best security practices. So that's the correlation. So by the time when you do the risk assessment, when you start referring Annex A, and when you start going through those 114 controls, the implementation guidelines for those 114 controls are all explained well elaborately in 27,002. So basically 27,002 is the standard in which the explanation of all these with implementation guidelines for all these 114 controls are present, and you can take help of those controls. Yet you need to keep that in mind that 27,002 is a guideline, it's not a certifiable standard. Now, very importantly, you need to understand, as I said in the management system element, that it's a non-technological issues. Now here, even if you see in all these 114 controls or the 14 chapters on the left or 14 domains on the left, the main area that deals with the technology are few. And that leads us to a very interesting conclusion that a lot of this information security is not technology based. I give you one simple example. For example, if you have a house and if you have a very sophisticated lock, which is which has been biometric, been programmed very well, and you have the security all around the house, and you have CCTV cameras, and you have best security companies, that is all there, and you have the best of the best that could be there to protect your house. Now, what if a member of the house opens the door for some unauthorized person? Now, how can you stop that member? Which technology, which thing can stop that member not to open the door for an intruder or an unauthorized member or unauthorized person? Now, that goes with the thing which we call in information security as human element. And human perceive things very differently. So we need to understand that at the end of the day, we in information security, and for that matter in every business, get dependent on the judgment of the human. And the judgment of the human heavily depends upon their awareness, their competency towards the subject. So we need to understand that even after doing everything, we need to make us people aware about the information security practices, about a lot of things which they need to do as a company personnel, plus even as the customer, towards the customer and as a user, to ensure information security, which are merely practices, which are administrative practices, which has nothing to do with the technology. If I do not need to speak about the official matters in the walkways, I need to practice that. That is part of the information security. That is one of the information security controls. So how do we train this human? That is one of the most important elements. And in information security chain, we call human as the weakest link. So to enhance that weakest link, we are coming up with our e-learning courses, as you can see on the slide. And anyone can go to our website at the bottom and can have a look at this, all the e-learning courses that we are offering to enhance the information security by enhancing the capability of the human. And my friend, my co-presenter, Mr. Charu, will take over and will explain you that how these e-learning courses can help you in getting towards a good environment for information security within your organization. So I'm handing it to my co-presenter, Mr. Charu, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Arshad, for a brief introduction. During the next 10 minutes, guys, we're going to speak about cyber training program. My name is Charu Palnekar. I'll be taking you through 8 slides and give you a brief about what e-learning program is about. At a high level, the cyber training e-learning platform is more of a ease for everybody to take training wherever you like to take it from. Doesn't matter what time, what place. So going to the next slide, I'll give you the landing page where you can see about the learning platform or what are the courses being offered, everything. So this is the page where you land. We're going to revisit this page within a few minutes again. At present, we are offering 50% discount on the price for the limited time period. And if you click on the please click here to view our catalog, you'll be able to see all the courses there. Going to the next slide. But we are speaking about what is the importance of cyber training here, why cyber training is so important. And during the next 3 slides, you'll realize that almost everything depends on training here. If you look on the left side, we already discussed about data breaches. Here is the additional data about IBM Security 2018 cost of data breach study. And you'll be seeing that on an average, cost per lost or stolen record is about $148. Total cost per data breach is almost $3.86 million. And among the top 5 areas for the remediation of this problem is employee training, as highlighted on the right side in the screen. That itself indicates that training is a very, very important factor which contributes to save the money, allows people to take decisions. Moving from hardcore data breach to the governance risk compliance training. This is data from ACFE, which is the Association of Certified Fraud Examiner. They do the report to the nations every 2 years. You will realize there is total of $7 billion lost in fraud, 2,690 real cases of occupational fraud. And among the most common control to reduce the fraud is governance risk compliance training. And every compliance points out to the training of the employees, of the management to reduce this cost, reduce the corruption even. Next slide is about GRC done right with the right training. This is from OCEG, Open Compliance and Ethics Group. Speaks about at a high level what's the current state, which is lack of effective oversight. It's all about governance. If you don't have policy, procedures, standards properly documented, you have this picture here which talks about poor integration, lack of visibility, complexity. All these areas or the problem areas which are listed on the left side can be solved with the trainings to get to the right state or future state called effective oversight. Behind this state, from current state to future state, is more predominantly driven by the training which is being given to the people to make the right decision. Even for policy and procedures to be implemented, you need a right knowledge and right decision. What are the compliance mandates which makes it mandatory for the people to do the training? Here I listed some of them. You must be familiar with the PCI, Payment Card Industry Compliance, HIPAA compliance, FFIEC, SSI 18, ISO 27001, NIST 853. They have dedicated standard or requirements which makes it necessary that people are trained for the security awareness. I I have highlighted the word security awareness, knowledge and awareness in the slide to show the importance of it. So section 12.6 of PCI, 308 of HIPAA, or CC 2.2 for SSI 18 requires training. People may look at this training as a checkbox, but I'll take you a step further. There's more than checkbox. We have to look at it as an employee growth. It's more towards the growth of an employee when we do this training. So taking it to the next slide, when you speak about employee growth, this is where we start. We already saw this slide earlier, so we'll go to the next slide. But this is where we are going to start about e-learning platform. Then come to the place. Once you select the e-learning courses, you're going to this page. You're going to see what are the courses offered, one below the other. Here you see HIPAA course. They're all listed there. All compliance, GRC, business courses are listed there. I'll give a brief view of some of our courses here. So on the left-hand side, you see payment card industry, HIPAA, high-tech, malware courses. They are all driven by our objective of awareness, retention, sustainability. When you speak about awareness, some of these courses are mandatory under compliance. They will be satisfied with our awareness program. Some of the courses offer very advanced training, which is more towards the retaining employee. And our sustainability platform is more towards in-depth training, which is more driven by the factor that, hey, you can take, for example, 4 courses on incident management, 2 on problem management, 2 on breach notification, creating a complete course, 8 courses giving you thorough knowledge of incident management, discipline, breach notification, as well as problem management. This is driven by the fact that employees move their jobs, that there is a high turnover sometimes, or there are better opportunities for the employees. And in that particular case, there is very short time available for director or the next employee to take over his responsibility. And how this sustainability program can help them is that in a short time, they can train an employee, and within 6 and 8 hours, he's able to understand what he's speaking, what director is speaking about, what instructions are given to him, and he's able to perform those responsibilities. That's a driving factor behind the sustainability program. So here are those things which I mentioned just now: awareness training, retention training, sustainability training, with the example that when an employee leaves the organization within 2 weeks notice, then director and next employee has a lot of responsibility. That's what I was speaking about. Very important thing is that all courses are eligible for 1 hour CPE. You are going to get continuous professional education certificate at the end of each course. They're acceptable for CISA, CISSP, CPA requirements. So just to bring your attention to that. Here's the layout of a courses. When you click on the earlier screen that you want to know more about the courses, you will get a course name, learning objectives, demo videos, prerequisites, purchase option, whether it's an individual or business. The individual has discount, businesses has different structure. If you have 10 employees, 100 employees, you will get better benefits of pricing by subscribing to this platform and more easy accessibility. Under each of the training platform, you have a demo videos, and I can play one of them for a sample, and you can see you will have these instructions which will help you. So I'm going to click here.
Welcome to the demo on the Federal Financial Institutions Examination Council Awareness Part 1. Note, some information is hidden. Click on Start to begin. Here are the navigation buttons which will help you to navigate the demo. Intended audience for this course are every employee, manager, management personnel.
So I'll stop here just to give an idea that, hey, this is a course which is a demo, that's why and it's a video. In reality, it's a very interactive training. You have a lot of quizzes in between. There is a question answers at the end of the training. There are 5 questions at the end of every training. You have to pass the training, and then you get a certificate issued for the completion of the course. Very interactive. Some places you have activity. You have to perform some actions, answer some questions, make some decisions. So it keeps you engaged throughout the course. It's not just static playing of the certain things. You have to interact with the course every time.
Welcome to the demo on the
So I'm going to take you to the next slide. So how to purchase the course. On this, I just mentioned that on our course you can study more, and you can see the objectives on the left hand sides and the course name and all those details. On the right hand side you have a opportunity to purchase directly as an individual, register, and you are able to start the course within 5 minutes or 3 minutes itself once you register and pay for it. Or you go for the corporate pricing inquiry, where you will get the reply from our team immediately as to what kind of help you need in this particular thing, whether you have 100 people, and how to make the course available. So briefly, there is a lot of flexibility here. You can start the course, you can stop the course, you can resume the course in between, and you can take this in the phases. All those instructions are available. So thank you guys for listening to me. Once again, thank you, Arshad. And if you have any questions and concerns, just let me know. uh, After this one, I'll be able to take questions and answer your questions and give you more details, or how to go to know more about the courses. Thank you so much once again, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Charu. And I like to once again present the training slide that we are offering all these trainings on all these international standards. I also like to highlight that we are also offering customized training as well, because we understand that a lot of people may not be able to do it the days we have mentioned. So it can be 2 days, it can be 4 days as well, as per the need of the client. So for any of your training need, you can contact our training coordinator, Ms. Cindy Hyde. That's her number, mobile, and the email. And even after this Q&A, if you have any questions, you can send your questions to that email, and we will try to respond to it as soon as possible. So let's start with the Q&A session now. Oh, hello everyone. I believe you people can hear me. So some of the questions that I saw during the presentation, and I like to address that before I hand it over to Cheru, is one of the questions regarding the compliance mandate. The compliance mandate in 27001. So not just 27001, for that matter, every ISO standard that starts with the legal requirements. So first, the first foremost cause that it starts with, let be that quality, be that environment, be that health and safety, or for that matter, information security, business continuity. The first thing that the standard starts with is to know the law of the land, law that is applicable in your geography for that particular domain, for that particular discipline, and then comply with that, make arrangements for that. So yes, the compliance mandate is very much there in 27001. Another question that I received is regarding the certification related to the 27001 and to the other guidelines and other standards that I showed you. So I just want to say one thing, that, and it's a technical sort of a discussion, but the guidelines, yes, people get certified to it, but those uh, certifications are like local certifications. They are not accredited certificates. There's a concept of accreditation, goes by by a certification scheme through an accreditation body. So that is true for 27001. The other guidelines, people get certified, but that is through the local office. Just want to clear on that. Hope that has answered both the questions. So I'll give it to Jeru now.
Hey guys. Hey, thanks for first of all, thank you guys. I appreciate you all joining and listening to us. So really thankful. Quickly going through the questions, and I'll try to answer some of them briefly. If you need more info, please do feel to say that, hey, you need more information, more details. Happy to answer your questions through email too. So going with the first question from Alex, of course, we divided the question between Arshad and myself. So some question, if I come across and still it has to be answered by Arshad, I'll give it to him. First one is by Alex. Alex, thanks for the question, saying that, are you able to reference some sources for the breaches? We did reference, but I'll give you a high level one from Verizon report, other ones from IBM security data breach report, a couple of them from the OCEG and Association for Fraud Association. I did mention those names during the demo in almost all the places, but just give it once again. Verizon, there is a data breach report, and OCG, ACFE, Association for Fraud Examination. They do every 2-year fraud report, and IBM report was there too. IBM did it in 2018. Once again. How can you ensure integrity of data? This is a really good question. There's a lot of ways to do it. And I'll keep it at a very high level, not to go into too much of detail. And some of our e-learning courses do cover this aspect very well, especially when it comes to GDPR compliance, data privacy. So, those frameworks or those approaches will cover this idea. But at a high level, so you always start with the risk-based assessment. Risk assessment is a starting point for anything you want to do, so that you have a focused, prioritized approach. You need to understand you're using appropriate systems and service providers, appropriate third parties, appropriate your own systems. Very important aspect is your audit trails. And I'll keep it at a high level. I can go granular, speak on this subject for an hour, but just to keep it quick and short. Change management, change controls, which are important. Uh, Certain aspects of business continuity, and let's put it on the at the level of data itself. When you input the data, certain critical controls are important. Input validation, we call it. Data validation, we call it. Removal of duplicate data, and there are a lot of technical things available, which is like uh, check for duplication, check for even some of the access, segregation of duties, which is also very important when it comes to this management. But I'll be happy to go in granular details to provide you more information. But e-learning courses, how a couple of courses there, right from the information security to malware, ransomware, data privacy, GDPR, CCPA compliance, ISO 27001, those will cover. And I did like the topic. There could be dedicated e-learning training just really focused on data identity itself, and I think we'll prioritize that. I did like Diana that question. Uh, do we offer data security training? Yes, we do offer data security training. The e-learning courses are covering those too. There is one more good question. Arshad, you can take this afterwards. Can this audit be conducted remotely? I'll give a chance to speak after some time. Also, the next question is which ISO standard is available for free on the ISO website? Arshad will address that in a few.
Okay.
Is e-learning by BV free? This is a good question. Over the period of time, let's put guys, as you get aware of the e-learning, some of the things will try to make a little bit of a high level awareness, not merely granular hour training, 10-minute snapshots or something like that. Some of the quizzes will try to make it available free down the line. But this is all up to the management. But this is a good question. We're going to discuss it internally, what can be done free and everything. We'll get back to you on that one, but you will see that. But yes, some snippets can be here there. Is it possible to give a cost of the cyber training e-learning? Yes, all the training cost, when you go to the request for additional information purchase option, you will see the pricing for each training. If you're looking for the business as such for the whole organization, and you want to procure 10 trainings, 20 trainings, or so two ways, correct? One person can do multiple trainings, or multiple people can do the same trainings. Whichever way, it's volume we are looking at, and those volume-based discounts will be available through the business option. Uh, Cindy Hyde is a contact. Cindy will share her contact and give you more information about that too. Uh, some of this again are compliance mandates not included in ISO 27. Arshad will take care of it. Okay, good question. Is the e-learning courses available for all regions? I'm not able to see that in India now. It will be available globally. So one of the things, first of all, try to go /US from your place and see if you see those training. Very soon this will be global, and I think the leadership at Birya Veritas are taking a different direction. This is the first time we are announcing that, hey, this e-learning courses are available, and in a shortest time from now you should be able to access these courses globally. uh, and Very quickly we'll let you know, but this is a good question. Please send the presentation. This will be addressed soon. Good job. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that comment. Once again, another comment from Ivana from the presentation. Where can we find your email contacts, presenters? Good question. We should share that to you. I will we'll take care of that right away. Not able to hear anything, please. Some of this areas during the, I saw some notes here saying that I'm not able to hear. A couple of guys, I mean, rejoining could have helped, but this podcast will be shared with you. It will be available through different sources. My apologies if you're having some technical difficulties, but in the beginning I had the same Satyanarayan, and I had to restart, so I would have requested that. But if you missed anything, once again, sorry for that, and just you'll have to replay it. It should be available to you in a few minutes from now. What requirements need organization to implement SMS? Minimum requirement that I'll tell Arshik to address. These courses are, once again, this question, are these courses are accessible anywhere? Yes, these courses are accessible anywhere, any place, any location, anytime. You can take the courses in a, you don't need to complete the whole course in one sitting. You have 4 sittings available. This is 1 hour courses, guys, so don't do 5 minutes 20 times, just do 15 minutes 4 times. So there are you can do it. It's not long. It's a very interactive course. You'll like it. How can we access ISO norms? Again, I'll leave that one to Arshad. At least at the moment. Any other question, please feel free to ask. I gave you some more information about this one. But if you go on the website, just quickly, guys, VeritasTraining.com/US, and select the e-learning, you are able to see the courses. If not on the global level, you should be able to see it very soon. And I think the whole team is listening here. We'll make some good efforts right as early as possible to get there. Arshad, I'll give it back to you if you have to comment on some of those questions. And guys, feel free to ask other questions if you have. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Charu. Yes, so a few of the questions which are related to, again, the 27001. So one of the thing is regarding the remote audit. Yes, we can well do it remotely. This is one of those standards which can be audited remotely, except for one of the clauses which is related to physical, physical and environmental security, in which if there's a physical site, we need to visit that site to verify that clause. But that, leaving that portion aside, yes, this is one of the standards which can be audited remotely, depending upon the nature of the business. The other question is regarding what was that about? Regarding the, yeah, what what we need for the implementation, what requirements need for implementation of ISMS minimum requirements. Well, minimum requirements are if you have an organization, let's suppose a small organization. So if you go, as I try to explain you through the standard, if you go through that, uh, the policy, the risk assessments, risk mitigation plan, risk treatment plans, statement of applicability. So there are a lot of documentation requirements are there, and there's a lot of implementation requirements are there. So it's hard to say what is minimum. It goes as per the structure of the organization. If you are a small structure of the organization, the things will be there, but their volume or their size will not that be big. For example, if you have a risk assessment, um, and if you're a small organization, but then again, it depends upon the type of business you are in. If you're a small organization, which is a credit bureau, which is maintaining all the credit information for all the lenders and banks, then it may. So it depends upon number of factors that that um, that how the minimum requirements you define. But nevertheless, um, the minimum requirements are not as such the minimum. They're mandatory requirements. That's a proper word to say. It's a mandatory requirements which are there, and it cannot be quantified by numbers as such. That is one of the things. Then another one is regarding the standard, which is not available for free. Yes, all the standards they are not offering for free. Basically, even before this pandemic, the standards were not offered for free; they were all charged. But now, for a time being, they are offering it for free. So, what I verified, one of the standards is 22301, ISO 22301, which is on business continuity management system standard, which is very much available for free. There are other few standards which are available for free, so you can take the advantage of that by downloading those copies. Um, I think we are done with most of the questions. Yes, so a couple of things regarding this, regarding the slides. First of all, so the slides will be provided to you after the webinar. The recording of the whole webinar will be available on our Bureau Veritas YouTube channel. So that will also be, you will be provided with a link for that, and our emails. So what you can do is that you can write to Cindy, the email that was shown to you, and she can provide our emails to you. So we are very much accessible, and I can ask the moderators to provide the emails while they will be sending the presentation to both the presenters. So that is not a problem. So I believe, Chero, we are done with most of the questions, and if there are any other questions even afterward, you can email that to Cindy. We would like to address that, um, and hopefully the webinar would be of benefit to you. You got the idea of cybersecurity, the importance of it, and the 27001 standard, and how the our e-learning courses are supporting the main 27001 standard. I again like to apologize for the initial hiccups that we had regarding that the connection, and it went wrong, and that was a classic example of the availability of the information and information security. So you got to know about that availability, how important this information security is. So with that, I like to wish you the very best for the rest of the day, and then whichever questions you may have, you can always contact us. We are very much there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Arshad, I want to thank you everyone again.
Thanks.
Hey, you guys, there in the public chat there is a link for the e-learning courses. We just posted it. You should be able to access that. And then second is this course list is not static. We will be continuing to add the courses almost every week. So you should be able to see additional courses updated in the list every week. So just to let you know, once again, thank you so much. Really appreciate you all attending. Thank you.